And US President Donald Trump made his case for attacking Iran in his first nationwide address more than a month into the war, insisting that the United States was very close to victory. Now, in the roughly 20-minute speech from the White House, Trump said that US military objectives in Iran were nearing completion, but said that they would continue hitting targets in the Islamic Republic over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death. They're all dead. American involvement in World War I lasted 1 year, 7 months, and 5 days. World War II lasted for 3 years, 8 months, and 25 days. The Korean War lasted for 3 years, 1 month, and 2 days. The Vietnam War lasted for 19 years, 5 months, and 29 days. Iraq went on for 8 years, 8 months, and 28 days. We are in this military operation, so powerful, so brilliant, against one of the most powerful countries for 32 days. And the country has been eviscerated and essentially is really no longer a threat. Over the strait will open up naturally. It'll just open up naturally. They're going to want to be able to sell oil because that's all they have to try and rebuild. It will resume the flowing, and the gas prices will rapidly come back down. Stock prices will rapidly go back up. They haven't come down very much, frankly.
Trump's speech comes as recent polling shows his overall approval rating slipping below 40%. Disapprovals are climbing above the mid-50s, with the war itself deeply unpopular with segments of his own Republican Party. Trump's administration voiced strong support for him, with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio calling the speech powerful. Now, Rubio stated that the president was clear about U.S. objectives in Iran. In a post on social media platform X, he outlined these objectives and said the president's leadership sends a strong message to the world. The U.S. will defend its people, protect its interests, and uphold peace through strength. Trump's Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, wrote back to Stone Age on social media soon after Trump's speech. However, Senate Minority Leader reacted to the U.S. President's speech with a question. Has there ever been a more rambling, disjointed, and pathetic presidential war speech? He said Trump's actions in Iran will be considered one of the greatest policy blunders in the history of the United States, failing to articulate objectives, alienating allies, and ignoring the kitchen table problems that Americans are facing. He also said that Trump was completely unfit to be commander-in-chief. And sharing with us his insights, we were earlier joined by Dr. Reza Khanzadeh. He's an adjunct professor in political science, Middle East and Islamic studies at George Mason University from Washington, D.C. And this is what he had to say. Listen in.
What we see here is just another strategy from the Trump administration where he essentially wants everyone to be guessing what the next move is. A part of that strategy can be argued that he himself and his cabinet really don't have a comprehensive, strategy. They don't know exactly what they want to do or how long it's going to take. They're essentially taking it day by day and seeing what sites they bomb, how successful it is, and then they recalibrate, readjust, and then they see what else needs to be done. But another strategy is that this is all done on purpose. It is very, calculated and also very, very deliberate in his messaging to the public, where he pushes these deadlines back 2 to 3 weeks, every 2 to 3 weeks. And what that leaves an opening for him is a chance for him to essentially invent or create an off-ramp for himself where he can tell a success story and say that we, the United States, have declared victory. We have destroyed, Iran's military, Navy, Air Force, ballistic missiles, nuclear sites, as he said in this 19-minute address, and then find a way to leave this conflict. And there's been times where he says we want regime change, then he says we don't. Then there's times where he says Iran must, have unconditional surrender, and then in a few days later, he kind of backtracks on that. So all this back and forth flip-flopping messages does leave the entire world essentially on the edge of their seats to try to figure out what the next move is going to be.